Hey guys, Daniel Faust. It is Thursday. Hope you're excited. It's almost the weekend, and some states are starting to early release. I know Delaware is starting to do interim phases. I'm excited. Getting a haircut on Tuesday. Yeah. So as we go over and get out of our living rooms, bedrooms, and going back to the boardroom, we want to tack a day or two more in the living room about training your kids for the Ready Player One generation. We are joining in more of a virtual world every day. I just got out of a virtual class of 70 people trying to stream on my Google Chromebook. But as COVID-19 presses on, things are changing. Our culture, our schools, and economy is fastly morphing. So our kids are going to go into a world that they don't recognize. Colleges are talking about going over and canceling school and going online. Schools are questionable if they're going to go start in the fall. They don't know if this COVID-19 is continually morphing to other diseases in younger kids, but we're not concerned about the disease. We'll have the people that go handle that. But this week, we want to help to empower you with 5 tactics to help your kids transform to superheroes so they can thrive in this Ready Player One world. So tonight's tactic, which has multiple superhero tactics underneath, is we want to empower you to teach your kids about money, because if you're the same as I am as a military veteran first responder, we didn't really get taught about money as kids in general, and we tend to spend more than we make, and we're more in debt and everything else. And even though we're fighting to be the war hero, we need to go transform to that superhero so our finances are doing extremely well, and our kids can do the same thing so they don't make the same mistakes in the next generation. So jumping into the tactics, superhero tactic number 1, www.mymoney.gov.com. I just found this out that there is a government resource that teaches financial literacy online. So definitely you want to go over and to leverage that, to go to www.mymoney.gov. Gives you video lessons, gives you tutorials, gives you downloads. The thing is chocked full of information. Now, if you're more of an action, if you have more action kids, it's not as fun. But in that particular regard, if you have a kid that's very much blueprint and knowledge, and they like to go over and to learn a lot, and they want to go over and be wise, this is a great resource to go over and to use. Superhero tactic number 2 is financial board games. Yeah, did you know that we have financial board games? And I found out there's more than just the ones that we typically know. So here's a couple examples. Acquire. This one's been built from Hasbro. It's been rebooted about several times throughout the years. This helps you go over and grow an empire. So we think of always Monopoly, but Monopoly is more about real estate and investing. This Acquire helps you to grow an empire, a super empire. So I'd highly recommend going over and getting that board game. It teaches a lot of financial lessons, and it's an easy way to talk about finances when you're playing a game. The next one we all know and love is Monopoly, and Monopoly is everywhere. They have Monopoly slots, they have Monopoly games, they have them based on movies, they've rebranded for certain shows, certain cities and whatnot. They have the ATM one, they have the Steelers edition, which my wife loves. It teaches you about real estate investments, and also teaches you a little bit about morals, like why are you going to go over and steal? That's not cool, but people think it is in a game. So definitely something worthwhile. You can get it in multiple formats. You can even do pass and play on the phone. So if you have it on your phone and you ever want to play with us one time, just go over and direct message us, and I'll send you the 4-digit code, and we'll go over and play, and we can talk about real estate and investments. Going from there, the game of life. Everybody's playing that same thing. It's on multiple formats, even on the iPhone, even on the platforms and everything else. It's lasted multiple generations. And it's a life of earning in money. So if you want your kids to learn the 9-to-5 way of earning money and investments in the traditional way, you can go over and play the game of life. Great way to go introduce financial lessons. And the last one that we saw is PayDay. Now, I think I played this a long time ago, and it was a great refresher. This one talks about real life finances. So you go over and you're waiting for the payday, and then you get your water heater blows up, or something else goes over and happens and whatnot. It's a great way to get your kids exposed to real life finances, and then you can share your stories about real life finances with them. Going from there, another superhero tactic in the financial world, there's lots of financial apps. We wanted to give you recommendations on ones that we go over and like or looked at. And here's a couple, which this one we just signed up for today is Greenlight debit card. Greenlight debit card is really cool. You just go over and get it on your phone. Let me see if I can show it real quick. Boop. Greenlight debit card goes over and it's on your phone like this. Boop. I'm not going to show you my financial data, but basically it has a parent wallet, and then you have the child's cards, and they get debit cards sent to them. They can get them customized if they want to, and then you can put a spend budget, a save budget, and a give budget in there. And you also can encourage them and give them incentives. You put the money in the wallet. It connects extremely to most all banks, and you can go over and then allocate an allowance, or you transfer money per day. In our house, we do a daily rate on they go over and get paid as long as they meet a 75% tolerance on overall chores. We go over and do that. You can put the taskers in that app too. The only caveat I'll give you a heads up, if you have multiple kids, the debit cards work great and everything else, but if the kids want to have access to the information, each kid's got to have an iPod or an iPhone to access their financial data. Now you can send them a screenshot each and every day, but it works mainly through the app. A couple other apps to mention, and I don't endorse or not endorse these, they just look cool, so you want to go over and check them out yourself. This was like on a top 10 list of finances, is IAllowance. We also got PiggyBot. We also got Keepthechange. Keepthechange is kind of cool. The way I go and I've seen it, it's like allows you to round change and to go over and do educational lessons in there. PiggyBot is more about chores and whatnot, and go from there. Superhero tactic number 4 is share your banking ledger or checking account information. And you're saying to yourself, I was taught to never share those things. That's the reason why most of the nation struggles with finances, because we don't share those types of things. What's a deposit? What's a withdrawal? Why is that coming out? Maybe your kids can maybe give you tactics that they're not in and say, hey, do you realize you have this recurring expenditure every month? Do you realize you spend on food and whatnot? That's huge, because values are caught, not taught. So if we go over and start doing this on a regular basis, they'll go over and catch it, and it'd be very much appeased to change our generation. We need to be more transparent with that, especially as parents in that particular regard. We shouldn't wait until they get their first checking account. Like we just arranged a Greenlight debit card thing, but we will share in what it is. Now, there's things that they do need to know and don't need to know, but take those moments, age appropriate, also responsibility. You don't want your kids knowing your account numbers and everything else and know where your debit cards are kept and stuff like that. But universal things about your bank ledger, like this is a deposit, this is a withdrawal. These things take 1 day, these things take 3 days, this takes this. I'm planning that budget. Another superhero tactic to deliver is become a bank, credit card, or PayDay loan shark. What do I mean by that? Isn't that crazy? What I mean by this is that there's opportunities for you to become a micro bank, a micro credit card, and a micro PayDay loan shark in your home to teach those lessons, but safeguard. What do I mean by that? For example, our kids went over and did an entire month of chores, and it was contingent on the stimulus. So the stimulus came in, we said, hey, we'll give $200 each kid stimulus, but it's contingent on you doing your chores well. So I basically become a bank. Each time they didn't go over and complete, they missed a strike, they got $5 off every single one, because we normally don't pay that much a day to go over and pay them. So they got $5 a whack. At the end of the month, we went over and basically became like a payroll system and went over and said, hey, we're going to pay you. We paid on the 1st, we paid on the 15th, and then we allowed them to do certain things. So we allowed the kids to become mini banks and to loan the money out. Now, we did extreme, measures on interest, because the percentage interests are later on. So we allowed the kids to charge between 10 to 300% in their own personal bank. And if the kids want to come to us, we kind of teach them the extremes on there and say, hey, you can come to us as a bank, the adults, and you can come do a loan. Here's the terms, here's the conditions. Do you want to go with it? And my daughter's like, I don't know. And then my wife was the loan officer, and she said, no, because you already have a loan out and you're still paying on it. I don't want to do that. I don't want to take that risk. You don't have enough work proof to go over and do that. So I became the credit card financer. And now at 6:30 tonight, my daughter will get back and say, hey, do you want to pay 1,500% on a $30 loan? I know it's extreme, and obviously you don't want to do that in real life. You want to give them the extremes to start realizing that the same thing happens with cumulative interest. Mine's just simple interest. So you basically become a mini credit card thing and teach them responsibility. Like, here's a bill. This is how much it's going to cost a month. It's same thing you do the PayDay loan shark. You really want that candy? Okay, 200%. You take $5. You pay me back 10 through chores or other money that you come in and go and do that. And what I go over and do is any money that they go over and pay in, I put it aside for them and then put it in a savings account to let it go over and yield. So I'm teaching them the extreme lessons in a small microcosm, but at the same time, they go over and experience that in real life. And these lessons usually want to do between like the 8 to 14-year-old realm in these particular superhero tactics. So that's another way you can go over and teach your kids about finances to empower them in this next Ready Player One generation. Tactic number 6, share your wins and losses in finances. A lot of times we as families just keep that private. We'll talk about emotions and feelings. We kind of avoid sex. Sex and finances, like the two topics in the living room, we kind of try to avoid as much as possible. It's just natural. We get caught up in life. But we need to share our wins and our losses in finances. We're taking a walk with our kids. We're taking a hike. We're playing Minecraft with them. They're watching a video. They're streaming like crazy. Sit alongside them, go over and share that information. And maybe you can take something that's in the movie to go over and to relate and share those wins and losses in finances. Because if they hear those stories, they'll remember those stories. And if their stories from their head connect to their heart, boom, transformation. So not everybody's going to be perfect at it, but it takes time, it takes repetition. Because in a Ready Player One generation, they want you to be authentic and they want you to be transparent. So when you're sharing your wins, you're sharing your losses, they're more likely going to go and connect with you. They're going to realize you're human. You're just a big version of them. It's like, you are parenting because you got blessed, not because you're better or worse in that particular regard. Superhero tactic number 7, especially in this world today in COVID-19, to help them go over and transform your kids' little mini superheroes. Start a biz or a YouTube page with your kids. We've given opportunities before, and a tax return comes in or a big investment, and we take a part of that and say, hey, you wanted this summer to go over and start a business. Maybe it's Amazon. Maybe it's becoming a YouTuber. Maybe it's becoming a blogger, whatever it is. And you help your kids, and then you start going over, and I let them keep a percentage, So basically you go over and say, the way we do it is we go over and say, right now it's 30%, 30% they go over and keep, 70% goes back into the business. We go over and keep the expenditure out, and then I keep 30% of it to go and put it in a nest egg for them when they get out of the house. And then when they start going over and taking full responsibility of the business, then they get to keep 70%. They're managing the finances, but we still charge a 30% fee. And what we do is we take that 30%, and again, we put it in a savings and a nest egg. So when they go over and leave, they have that to go over and to start their lives with. But you can help them go over and grow a business. It teaching them responsibility and teaches them negotiation. It teaches them on what expenditures are when you're doing this with them. What's the pros and the cons of going over and starting a YouTube page? How long does it take to build followers? Some people have been doing podcasting or vodcasting for years. How do you go over and get sponsors? You do these things with your kids. They're empowered when they get out of the house, and they are truly those mini superheroes. And lastly is superhero tactic number 8. Let your kids plan the day or vacation via a budget. So when we get out of COVID-19, we're really going to want to get out of the house. Why not go over and have a fun time, but teach them a valuable financial lesson and say, hey, here's $200 for the day. I want you to go plan for the day. And then we, as adults, become the kids and do all these crazy requests and whatnot and see if they go over and stay in budget. I want a Subway sandwich. I want to go to a steak shop, everything else. How do they go over and manage it? Especially with Greenlight debit cards, you can go over and transfer the funds to the kiddos for that day and tell them what the budget is and go over and let them actually manage the day. So, or manage the vacation as you get a little older. People don't know how to budget for vacations. People are just going willy-nilly. It's like, can I actually get a vacation for $1,000? Can you figure a staycation? Those types of things. So these are some of the things that we want to help you empower your kids as ideas and resources to go over and do that. Now, if you really like these ideas and whatnot, we are doing a great virtual summit. It actually got bumped to the 5th and 6th of June. So you have an opportunity to still sign up. If you go to easywayliveevents.com, which is down in the streamer, you do use referral code Warhero2Superhero. We'd love for you to go over and connect. And plus, me personally, if I get 1,000 registrants, I go over and give you, one of you, a $250 Visa card straight to your door, just from me to you, just an address, no solicitation, just straight cash for you to have fun with. So we love to go over and see you there. And definitely one last announcement is for tomorrow, we're doing our bestseller campaign. So if you have an opportunity and you see that and you get tagged, we'd love for you to go over and pick up our book, Leave No Marriage Behind. We reduced it down to 99 cents digital just to go over and to grow the brand so we can serve more military veterans and first responders. So a big win for you guys, either coming to the live event or going over and getting yourself Leave No Marriage Behind tomorrow for our bestseller campaign, 99 cents. So that's pretty much about it. We hope that this is always a dialogue, never a monologue. You guys can put the comments, you guys can put the feeds. We love to hear what you thought was good, what you thought was bad, what you thought was in between. Do you have any suggestions on these tactics or topics? And we'd love to go connect you either here or on our TV show, Warhero2Superhero, streaming at a platform near you. So thank you for the day. Hope you guys have a great day and enjoy your time. And hopefully as we get released that we remember to go over and continually go over and connect. Thank you.